Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom, assalamu alaikum, adnastana. It's a pleasure to be back with you here on Points of Light Radio and continuing this journey of light and knowledge. To start with, today we are going to be talking about some exciting recent events within the realms of fraternalism over the last month or so. And here to explain some of those events is my guest, Wilbert Lemuel. Now, you may recall Mr. Lemuel from the August 6, 2022 segment of Points of Light Radio, where he discussed the ancient mystic order of Samaritans, or the August 25th, 2024 segment of Points of Light Radio, where he discussed and shed some light on the Braxian Club. Well, last year, Worshipful Brother Lemuel joined the Free Gardeners. And this year, in May of this year, he helped start the Free Gardeners Grand Lodge of North America, as well as the Free Gardeners Research Society here in North America. I think that's wonderful. Wonderful news, especially things like research societies. All lodges need them, and we'll get back to that in a minute, right? But he's here to talk about these, exciting new developments, as well as some of his future plans for the Free Gardeners in New Jersey. Now, just a brief recap. The Order of Free Gardeners is a fraternal society that was founded in Scotland in the middle of the 17th century, and it later spread to England and Ireland. The oldest evidence of the order is a record of the minutes of the Haddington Lodge, which opened on the 16th of August, 1676. As I said, probably older than that yet, right? They probably are much older than that. Now, although the Free Gardeners have always remained independent of Freemasonry, the history of the organization of the two orders shows numerous similarities. My guest will go over some of those, right? From my research, I find that the Free Gardeners have lodges in the United Kingdom, Germany, Africa, Australia. There are also a number of them, I will say that, in the United States, and now at least 2 in Canada, right? So I can't wait to see this worshipful brother. I haven't talked to him since last year. I haven't featured him here on Points of Light Radio in quite a while. So I just love this brother. I really do. So, are you still thirsty for knowledge? Are you still searching for the light? Then you just trim your lamp and you follow me. Worshipful Brother Lemuel, welcome back to Points of Light Radio.
Thanks for having me back. It is always a pleasure.
Now, you joined the Free Gardeners, I believe it was last year, didn't you?
Yeah, last fall, yeah.
Now, first of all, it's been a while since you were featured here on Points of Light Radio. Tell my listeners and viewers about yourself.
My name is Wilbert Lemuel. I am involved in a few fraternal orders. Freemason, Prince Hall affiliated out of North Carolina. I am also an Odd Fellow here in New Jersey under the Grand Lodge of New Jersey. I've joined the Benevolent Protective Order of Elks in Clayton, New Jersey. And I'm also a member of the Free Gardeners, Mount of Olives Lodge in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
I saw that, yeah. So now tell us about the Free Gardeners themselves. What do you know about them?
Well, the Free Gardeners is a fraternal order that was originally established in Scotland in the 1600s. So originally it was for actual gardeners, men who were in the craft of gardening. And it was established as an attempt to form their own trade guild. So it was during the time where lots of crafts or trades had their own guilds to more or less provide oversight, professional oversight over the craft itself. So you had the Freemasons, the Free Colliers, the Hammermen, the Fleshers or Butchers, I guess as we know them by. And so each of these trades established their own associations as a way to almost like a union in a way to not only trade knowledge and skills amongst themselves, but also within the community, people looking to hire professionals within that craft would go to them because it was more or less a guarantee that you're actually hiring a professional and you won't get a shoddy job done when you're hiring
Yeah.
someone to do the work for you. So the free gardeners were pretty much just that. They were a way of monitoring, overseeing the craft of gardening. And these men shared their knowledge of the actual craft of gardening amongst themselves and members. And the members were then within the order given the privilege and opportunities to travel to different places throughout the country and Europe as master gardeners for work,
Hmm.
for money to make a living for themselves. So eventually, like the Freemasons and a few others, they formed a lodge system and at some point started to admit men who were not actual gardeners. I guess similar to what you would call a speculative mason. They were speculative gardeners or metaphorical gardeners, where the symbolism taken from their daily work and interaction within their craft, they found beauty in it and they started to form these symbols or metaphors. And they taught that metaphorical knowledge to men who were not gardeners, who would join the free gardeners in these lodges that were composed of actual gardeners and non gardeners.
Yeah, of course. And you also and you can see where when these guilds, as you call them, like the Freemasons, the Free Gardeners, when they started out, it was a much different world. They did have trade secrets that they needed to protect. You just didn't want someone walking in that didn't understand, or if they wanted to
Right.
join, they had to work their way up. You didn't, and I can understand why they did that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But are you planning now on starting a Free Gardeners Lodge in your area, like your city?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I got back to the U.S. after um, taking the degrees in Canada, and I kind of had started to come back from the clouds because it was just a lot
It
of
is, yeah.
information, and it was very just a beautiful experience. So once I descended from Cloud 9 with the other brothers I was initiated with, we started to talk about the serious work of forming lodges in the U.S. So we started to slowly share things on social media about our experience, a few pictures, and it caught the attention of quite a few people. So now what's happening now, especially this year, we're noticing a lot of interest starting to build around free gardening, especially among men who are already a part of fraternal orders, especially among Masons, because they're just familiar with the structure of it all. And it's just something new. Well, new to them, but it's kind of like a hidden secret in a way because a lot of people haven't heard of the free gardeners, but as I explained, they've been around since the 1600s. So it's just this um, new world that a lot of people now are curious about and they're starting to seek membership. So
Yeah.
here in New Jersey, we have at the moment 8 seekers, me making, I guess I
Good.
would make the ninth member in my area who are looking to take the degrees and start a lodge. And I've talked to people in other areas who have contacted me. We have a brother in Texas who I took the degrees with, and
Hmm.
there's interest there in Texas where he's at, and also in the neighboring state of Louisiana. I've gotten um, contact with people from Georgia, Florida, um, Virginia,
Wow.
and Indiana. So it's starting to like spread like wildfire here in a way, as far as people who are interested and are serious about actually taking their degrees and starting their own lodge. So we're hoping to see something happen with Jersey this year.
Well, yeah, and because you are multi-fraternal, and these other gentlemen that you're in contact with, they also, I mean, would find it interesting because it does mesh well with Freemasonry and other organizations, I know some of the ones I'm also in, it meshes quite well with them. Are you finding that? Some of the
I
messaging.
I am well, I'm definitely finding that it's making them curious, but what I'm finding from men who are already free gardeners and like myself have joined other fraternal organizations, there's something special about free gardening that you do not get from any other organization that I've experienced.
I agree.
There's just something about from the structure and the intention of the ceremonies and even the way a free gardening lodge is ran and some of the purpose and objectives behind it, it's definitely built to be. I'm not sure if intentional, it just organically happens to be built in such a way that it doesn't allow for politics. And I see the struggle sometimes with some free gardeners in other areas where they are so used to a fraternal structure like the Freemasons that they're trying to impose that in free gardening and it's just not working. It's
Yeah,
actually serving to kind of maybe drive some members away because it's just not natural to free gardeners to operate in any other way that's not free gardening. Um,
but I did find that the degrees are really unlike. I have some degrees in other organizations like God Fellowship or the Orange. I did find that their degrees in free gardeners are very beautiful degrees. The degree structure is the same, but there's so much more messaging within the
yes.
degrees. That's what
Yeah.
I found with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Found the exact same thing. And I was talking to a few other brothers who recently joined that are also, majority of them are also Freemasons. And a lot of people, when they see the free gardening emblem or the most prominent emblem, the square compass and the pruning knife, they say, oh, Masons created this, or it's a Masonic organization, or they're trying to be like the Masons. And then they join and you realize that it's nothing like the Masons. Like even with the similarities, it's a completely different world. But equally so, just as beautiful. It just has its own message to present.
Sure, it does, and it is a standalone. I've often said that with these other organizations, like you're in the Elks as well,
Hmm.
and the Free Gardeners and so on, the Linefellows. Those are not poor man's Freemasonry. Oftentimes, people
No.
look at that. It's not.
Yeah.
They are standalone orders with their own messaging, with their own structure. There's nothing. They're not below Freemasonry whatsoever.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you 100%. And I'm sorry if you hear like music. I'm actually in a lounge room I remember at, and next door there's this bar, I guess you
No
want to
big
call it a
deal.
brewery. So you may or may not hear that from time to time. But back to your point, yeah, it's completely standalone. And I've seen just, through social media, which is how a lot of us connect internationally. Um, and even here in the US, how some people are trying to, in a way, attach it to masonry, almost like a not an appendant body, but maybe so in some cases, yeah, like a kind of independent appendant body, as if it's a detachment from
Yeah, I know
Freemasonry.
what you're saying.
And it's just not that. But to the person who does not know about free gardening and just looking to join, they may join with the assumption that it is just a part of masonry if that's how it's presented, or some kind of offshoot, which is really an injustice to the order and what it actually is.
Now, you did you receive your fourth degree when you came up here last time?
Yes, I did. I
And what
did.
was that? What's that called again? I can't remember.
The past master degree.
Taskmaster, that's it. How'd you
Yeah.
find that?
It I'm still kind of coming down from that too because it's just kind of like just when you thought they couldn't top what they had already presented, they give you this one degree that just brings it all together, and it's completely
Wow,
eye-opening. It's a beautiful experience, and um I yeah, like I said, I'm still coming down from it. So
wow.
it was great. It's just it really ties it all in together. Like free gardening is just a beautiful the ceremonies. They're just a continuous beautiful story, and they all connect, but they present so much more information each time.
Now, you also opened the Grand Lodge, I believe, of North
Yeah,
America, as well
yeah,
as a
yeah.
research lodge, I believed, at that particular meeting. Now, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to be a part of the opening of the North America Grand Lodge in Canada, so in Edmonton, and it was like I said, great experience. We took in one new brother who hit the ground running and has a position in the Grand Lodge, and yeah, we spent some time together, fellowship, but also discussed a lot of plans that we had in general for growth of the order in our respective areas. Also, from that, a continuation of a conversation that happened in the fall of 2024 when I joined was, how we're going to structure ourselves in terms of name and, whether it be North America Grand Lodge or, you know, American Grand Lodge, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But bigger than that, or part of that was, well, what do we call ourselves in addition to that? Are we the North American Grand Lodge of Ancient Free Gardeners? Are we North American Grand Lodge of the Ancient Order of Free Gardeners? Like, what are we doing? So what we did or what was presented was that there once was a United States Grand Lodge of the Ancient Order of Free Gardeners in the mid 1800s. So we decided to go along with that name, the Ancient Order of Free Gardeners. And so what has kind of been planted and blossomed from that is the idea of forming an overall more or less umbrella organization, but an all-encompassing organization of the Ancient Order of Free Gardeners. Within that, being autonomous grand lodges with their subordinate lodges, but also independent lodges in areas where there aren't grand lodges. So that's something that's still in the works, but is being well received. A lot of great ideas are coming from the brothers who are helping with putting that together. But it's going to be very beneficial for spreading the order, so that it's not just the North American Grand Lodge and then the several lodges spread across the U.S. and Canada, but we'll kind of have this all encompassing general standard that we all agree on and follow, more or less like an administrative body, so or
Yeah.
like a kind of oversight body for any lodges or grand lodges that come within the Ancient Order of Free Gardeners. So it's not really like a governing thing where you think of like a sovereign grand lodge, or even within free gardening, you have the International Order of Free Gardeners and a few other
Yes,
organizations
you do.
that really function as they have a Grand Master that kind of oversees the entire international order.
Mm.
It's not like that. Each Grand Lodge and Independent Lodge will govern themselves.
Oh,
It's
okay.
just they'll all agree upon a standard that is kind of kept or oversaw by the actual board of directors for the Ancient Order of Free Gardeners. So we're doing a lot of work, but we're enjoying it.
So that Lodge of Research, is that online?
Yeah, so the Research Lodge or Research Society, it's all online. What it is that um, what it is now, and what it seems to continue to be, quarterly meetings that are actually just lectures and virtual workshops where we discuss things from the ceremonies of free gardening, or maybe a certain concept found in the ceremony, and expand upon that. We've met before, and we've had speakers from, of course, our large amount of olives in Edmonton, Canada, but also we've had a brother from Germany come in and speak during the lecture and give a good lecture, a great lecture about uh, the degree ceremony. I believe he did the first degree ceremony and at one point did the second degree ceremony. And the good thing about it is that there are and will continue to be lectures for members only, but there will be times it's opened up to the general public when it's just about a concept that's not secretive or
Oh, of course.
too much detail about a ceremony, but just something that is about the science of life in general.
Mm. Now, and what has it done for, like, what is membership in the Free Gardeners and fraternalism, shall we say, and even in general, because you're in so many different fraternities?
Right.
What has it done for you personally?
Well, it's definitely made me a better man at different stages of my life. Like I joined the Freemasons Lodge when I was 21 years old, and So yeah, so I'm 21 years old. I just turned 21. I was in college still, so it definitely that presented an opportunity for me to be around mature men. It kind of grounded me at a time where you're young, wild, and free. So it definitely gave you that structure. Um, and then at different times, like the Odd Fellows presented me with community here in New Jersey. When I moved here, I wasn't from the state, but there's a lodge right down the street from my house, so it kind of helped me with that transition of coming to a new state where, even though we're in the same country, culture here is completely different. Like, social norms are very different than the South. So it was
Mhm.
nice to be around a group of people who were just there focusing on friendship, love, and truth. So that was nice. Free gardening to me, similar to the actual journey and the ceremonies of free gardening itself, it was my journey up to the point of free gardening, I feel now, was a progressive journey that actually led me to free gardening. Like
Mhm.
this is where I was
Yeah.
supposed to be. That's how I feel about it. It's just and it's just not because it's new, but just because of what it's done for me as a man and as a father, as a husband, as a friend, and
Mhm.
where where I'm at in my journey in life, and the fact that the ceremonies themselves focuses on uh, mastering yourself and your own journey in life.
Mhm.
It's just made me better. It made me want to be better. It made me realize even more just how we're connected, man, nature, and the universe. Just that there's so much more to us than just flesh and bone, I guess. And certain situations that come up in life, whether good or bad or indifferent, or the fear of the unknown. It's it's reiterated certain lessons I've learned in other fraternal organizations, but it's taken those lessons to the next level in a way that maybe I wouldn't have been prepared for at 21, just me personally. But had I gotten them then, I think I would have been so much better earlier on and maybe have gotten so much further on my journey in life and understanding who I am, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And like I said, and we all, like I said, uptake this differently. I know on a personal level what it did for me, being in fraternalism itself. You join a lodge and you spend a lot of time in your primary lodge and things like that. It reminded me of my very first time I went away on a big exercise with the military. I mean, it
Hmm.
was in the same province or state like you guys are in, but you realize how huge it is and how many. All of a sudden, you realize what a big part of this organization. Like you're a little part of this very big organization. And my
Yeah.
very first meeting I ever went to with my lodge, it was over in Toronto, and you all of a sudden you're meeting people from the same organization from all over Ontario, all over Canada, and even other parts of the world. And you're like, this is bigger than I even realized it was.
Right.
You ever find yourself doing that? You're like,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is bigger than you know what I mean? Because you get so
Yeah.
absorbed in your primary life, like, whoa, man, yeah, we are part of something big here.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely get the same feeling. And so for me, free gardening, of course, presents that too because I'm in love with Canada now. Like I'm trying to
Yeah.
become a citizen at some point. But Canada, like traveling there has been it's been great. Just the people I've met, and so I've had the opportunity because of free gardening. But more so than that, that feeling of wow, I'm a part of something so much bigger. I've had that feeling internally, if that makes sense, about I am so much bigger, like
Mhm.
so much more to me than
And as you go through the
I've known.
degrees, you find yourself
Yeah, yeah,
unlocking these ancient secrets
yeah,
as you go through. You're like, oh, wow, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah. The free gardening it does that. It's definitely more on the esoteric side than a lot of organizations.
yeah.
There's definitely, I mean, there's esoteric pieces to organizations that maybe have died out or maybe being revived in a way, but they're not quite presented outside of the surface level when it comes to ceremonies. Like free gardening, it brings you in. Like there's not just the surface. Each degree you go deeper and deeper and deeper. Uh, and so it's anyone who enjoys that esoteric knowledge or, the metaphysical, life science, it's definitely there. Like it's definitely there. It's hard to miss. No way to avoid it.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Lemuel, I appreciate your time tonight. All the best to you, and all the best to building that Free Gardeners Lodge in New Jersey. And keep in touch with us as you go along with that. And someday we will sit down and have a cigar together.
Yeah, we will.
That was Worshipful Brother Lemuel, brothers and sisters. It's always wonderful having him on here. It really is. Right? I love the way Worshipful Brother Lemuel drew parallels between the Free Gardeners as well as some of the other fraternal orders that are out there. Right? But he also shed light on some of the unique characteristics of the Free Gardeners, right? As I've often said, this is not a lodge or an order that can take it back. I can tell you right now, having been part of it, now that I'm part of it, it is not an order that will take a back seat to any of the other orders that you see out there. I also love the fact that the Free Gardeners in North America is maturing. Okay, this lines up quite well with Points of Light Radio's theme of growth for 2025. They've formed a Grand Lodge as well as a research society. And you've heard me talk about this before. These research lodges or research societies are very beneficial to these fraternal orders. They suffer when they don't have them. I think they go a long way to growing these organizations, and in this case, the Free Gardeners. It'll be beneficial to helping them grow, not just within North America, but as well as expand their influence and their lodge system to other parts of the world. Right? And it was wonderful having Worshipful Brother Lemuel back here. I love having him around here, bringing him on here, and having him talk to us, shed some light on. He's in so many different orders. And as of he's always welcome back here on Points of Light Radio. He really is. And I can't wait, as I said, to sit down and share a cigar with Brother Lemuel one day. It will be a wonderful thing. But that's all I have time for today, brothers and sisters. I do have another guest that just popped by here, so I have to get moving. But before I go, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. Right? You can see the link to my PayPal here on the detail section of this segment, where you can hit on that link, make a voluntary donation to this podcast. We will use that to move Points of Light Radio forward. You can see the link to my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. My X handle is at PO Light Radio. My Bluesky handle is at polightradio.bsky.social. You can see the link to my Spotify channel, as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, this has been an absolute pleasure. Until we meet again, just step into the light.